So please consider this as a disclaimer. I'm trying to get through this as quickly as possible because I promised myself I would order myself a pizza, and I'm really hungry. So please forgive me if this sounds rushed because I really want pizza. That is all. Start the show.
FX presents the indoob podcast with your host, T. Sterling Watson.
Good morning, Indoobians. I am T. Sterling Watson. I'm the host of the Indoob podcast. Thank you for stopping by and pushing play. How is everyone? Had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. I actually had 3 Thanksgivings. Let's see. The first one was called a Friendsgiving. That's when, I don't know if it's a new thing. It's been happening over the past couple of years, but I went to my, I guess it's the second annual of this Friendsgiving, where it's a Thanksgiving meal with friends, and typically it's celebrated around the Thanksgiving holiday, not necessarily on Thanksgiving, although some people do it on Thanksgiving, but it's with friends. And the way that I've come to be introduced to it, it's more of like a potluck dinner, but it's kind of almost Thanksgiving themed, and we all kind of bring things that we specialize in making. Last year I made what I guess apparently for me, it's my infamous cinnamon cornbread, I suppose. But this year, because of maybe the late notice or just kind of forgetting, I just brought in some rolls, some buns. But it was something. I didn't want to come empty-handed, and that was actually what was requested, I guess, at the last minute. So either way, it still was a great time. Great meeting with familiar faces, although this year I really made it a point to remember everybody's names. So with that said, I think I do remember a Raquel, I remember an Amanda, a Kayla, I believe, and a Jessica. I want to say there's an Eric, but there's a bunch of 4-letter names. So there was a Doug, I remember that. Drawing a blank now. I think there was a Mark. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not that they're listening, but just in case they are, I remember you. And if I don't remember I may remember your name, but I'm trying to put it to a face. That's what I'm doing right now for memory. Hooray for memory. But I really wanted to talk more about the food I had, because I had a lot of delicious foods. And that was Thanksgiving 1, or Thanksgiving meal part 1, as I was calling it, because that happened on a Saturday night. And that following day, which was Sunday, I went to church, and after church, we had a Thanksgiving meal there too. I also supplied for that meal. I made 3 apple pies, which I didn't have any of, which was fine, because sometimes when it comes to the things that I like to make, I don't necessarily want to have it. I just enjoy making it. So all the applesauce I make, I eat very little of it. Sometimes I do make it for myself to eat it, but, with the apple pies, I might have a slice here and there. Again, I like apple pie. I like my apple pie, but a lot of times I just like making apple pie. So there's that. Apple cider, on the other hand, I will make a whole gallon of apple cider and drink it myself. So there's that. And I did make apple cider. I didn't make it for any of the meals. I actually made it for the Thanksgiving meal that I had at my house, which had deep fried turkey, which is the best thing in the planet. Well, maybe not the best thing, but it is the best way to have turkey. I've had turkey many other ways. Well, there's only one other way, and that's roasted. And no, thank you. But deep fried if you've never had it. Now, I'm not sure if you can hear Chief barking in the background, but he just started. I don't know what's going on outside, probably a neighbor closing a car door, but I'm just explaining that's what that is. He decided to bark now out of all times. I don't know why he's a dog. So moving on. Anyway, I'm just hoping everyone had a great Thanksgiving, spent time with their friends or family. But you know, it's Thanksgiving. It's all about the food, really. And for some people, because they are out there, Thanksgiving is also just known as Black Friday Eve or African American Friday Eve. That's also what, you know, some people can call it. At least that's what I call it. I did none of that whatsoever. And I think it was probably the first year in a long time that I have not contributed like either my time or efforts other than the last episode being about African American Friday. And other than that, I haven't really, you know, participated in anything. However, I did engage in a bit of a conversation with the fellas, actually recently. Unfortunately, I couldn't get my recorder to work, my voice recorder that I normally record our conversations with. And the reason why is because the batteries died. It took me pretty much a couple hours to figure that out later because I'm like, why isn't this thing working? And like the conversation was great talking about how Christmas is getting over commercialized, or it has been, and it just seems to be getting worse. And I agree. But the conversation was so good, I couldn't quite get it recorded. And then I remembered, hey, I've got a phone that also records, so let me do that. And I did record that. Well, what happened was the conversation changed as it usually does and went off into talking about other things, which, I mean, they were still very interesting things. We went and talked about tech, and then I brought it back to something else that we were discussing. But the thing that you missed out on that conversation was how crazy Black Friday gets, how there's a small business Saturdays and Cyber Mondays, and how like this whole weekend is just devoted to sales and getting away from what the true meaning of Christmas is. I mean, we can debate about it all day long and how Christmas, like not like the birth of Jesus Christmas, but the actual pagan holiday Christmas was, you know, all about gift giving and feasting and all that, so forth and so on. But it was just the point of getting back to Christmas being over commercialized. And I mean, it's a debate, or not even a debate. It's just a fact that's been happening for decades, because I believe that was even in the Charlie Brown cartoon back in the 60s. So, I mean, it's nothing new, but it was just something that I found to be, this is a pretty good discussion. And, you know, I just decided to record it, or tried to, and missed all of it. Somehow we got into talking about technology and the advances of it. And it reminded me of something that I do intend to talk about further in a future episode, but we touched on it, and that's when the recording starts. So when I do get to the fellas segment, that's where it comes in. So I mean, this is a good setup. I probably should just say, hey, let's cut to it now, but maybe I'll do that, because I'm actually a little bit curious of what Chief is actually barking at, so I probably should go investigate. So I'm going to go do that. So sit tight. Not that you're going to like turn the podcast off because I'm saying, hey, we're going to go to this thing real quick, because why would you do that? I mean, seriously, come on. So yeah, coming up right now is the fellas. And like I said, is come right mid conversation. I kind of set you up to what we were talking about, and we talk about the tech advancements, and we'll just go from there.
We're losing all our manual dexterity, even labor, workmanship with the hands. It's all computer.
Yeah, robots.
Every bit of it.
Look at the assembly lines.
Look,
It's all
why
robots.
do you think all the cars are failing?
Yeah. And you wonder why they're falling apart.
And that,
You got a machine building it.
That's another reason why I'm scared to fly anymore these days. The pilots think you're up there, dude. Once that plane is in the air,
He just hit co-pilot.
freaking cars taking naps and stuff, dude. I'm serious. Man, I am not. Unless I have to.
So I don't want to scare anybody, but have you heard of Moore's law?
Who?
Moore's law.
I have, but I'm not sure what it is.
It's basically that like every 2 years, like what you're talking about with the little microchips and diodes and everything, that get smaller and smaller. And it's to the point where it comes to when AI actually, they call it the singularity technological singularities. It's some kind of term.
I've heard of it.
I literally read it like last night or the night before. But basically, when AI pretty much just becomes self-aware and
Thinks on its own.
yeah, things on its own, Skynet, Terminator, Matrix, all that stuff, and they're thinking that they're predicting that might happen by 2045. So we got like 30 years. So
I wouldn't doubt it. They're making they have taxis. I think New York City was the first city in the country to use to actually put taxis on the road that are GPS. They function off of GPS. All you do is program it and kick back, just like
Right.
autopilot. And just go.
Yep.
That's way too much trust, dude.
Google has self-driving cars too.
That's way too much trust. I mean, for me it is. You gonna do what? Where's your driver? Where you got him?
Look at those dolls they got in. Those dolls they got in China. They're about 5 foot tall. The flesh looks so real, and they basically can talk to you, have a conversation with you, and everything. It's a computer, but
I hope I don't to live to see that, man. I don't want to be around for that. I'd be like Will Smith, man. I'll shoot.
I robot.
I'm not trying to hunt that. Anyway.
To give you just a little hope, which we're talking about the Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I guess today is Giving Tuesday. So,
Somebody giving stuff away?
well, I think it's more about just donating to places.
Yeah,
so
churches.
someone is trying to actually,
Food
give
pantries.
back to the community versus everyone trying to consume with, well, Cyber Monday, Small Shop Saturday, or Small Business
that
Saturday.
didn't work.
Giving Tuesday?
Yeah, I think it might have just started this year. Happened to notice it on Twitter. So
They had Small
That's-
Shop Saturday on Main Street in Middletown. It didn't work.
What was that all about?
Basically,
They're trying to get all the small businesses to
Yeah.
have
You-
sales to try to get back to the mom and pops stores and everything like that.
Didn't happen.
Nah.
Well, this might
Even
be-
the malls weren't as busy as they
Well,
usually are.
you talk
Everybody's got
about,
on a computer and said, "Oh, I need that."
Everybody's going online.
Yeah.
They're
It
doing
takes
a lot
5
of
minutes to
online
put an
shopping.
order in.
Yeah.
A lot of
That's
online
so lazy to me.
But then your credit card gets
order
put on a-
groceries on the line and they show up at your door.
Yeah, stop shop, pod.
Speaking of which, the government, they're experimenting with mail delivery now, using drones.
Drones, UPS, it's already got
Amazon
it.
already does it.
UPS has already got them.
I know.
In
they're
California.
experimenting, I know. In Southern California.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Delivering packages, drive right out.
That's crazy. And no wonder we can't control terrorism. It's crazy. Anyway, we way off.
The indoob podcast.
Hey everybody out there, I am so excited that the day is finally here. Verve House Collective has launched. We are finally home. And I just hope that you are able to get out of Verve what I've put into it and what I've imagined it being for you. This place is for creatives. This place is for entrepreneurs and business owners. This place is for those who want to live life and live an awesome life with intention. So on the site, you'll find several resources to feed into each one of those things, no matter if you identify with one of those categories or all of them or even none of them. You may find something that gives you a new perspective on whatever the topic is about. You can always email me at hello@vervehc.com or reach out to me on any of the social media platforms that are out there. And then holler at me, let me know what you think. Can't wait to hear from you.
Hello, Indubians. I'm Laura, host of Loudavision, the podcast for visionaries, artists, and creatives. On my podcast, I'm interviewing fellow artists trying to figure out how we can bring our creative vision to life without compromising our values, crushing our soul, and dying poor. Yep, that explains it. You can listen to the Loudavision podcast on lauramioli.com and connect with me on Twitter @Loudavision.
And we're back. Like I said, it's been a pretty crazy couple weeks because of the 3 Thanksgivings and meeting with a lot of friends and families, and it's been busy. So Said it feels like I'm coming down to the wire trying to get this particular episode out because of all the stuff that's been happening. Good stuff. So it's nothing bad. It's just a good kind of busy. It's the holiday season, so that's kind of what happens. Not that I've been going out Christmas shopping because I still have not. I kind of do. I'm doing what I've done last year, and I have everybody's gift in mind. It's just getting those funds together and going out to actually make those purchases. And I actually started looking on Amazon of all places, and a lot of the things I want to get for people seem to only arrive after Christmas. So I don't know what all that nonsense is about, but I still have other plans for getting gifts for people, so I'm not worried about it. Meanwhile, it's just been a long day in general. I'm not going to go into details about work, but let's just say that with my job, it entails a lot of standing and a lot of walking, but today was a lot of walking, and my legs are so sore. So I'm currently just trying to find a way to rest them, and I probably just need to take like a pain reliever or something. I don't know. And the seasons are changing, or they have changed, or they keep fluctuating. That's the joy of living in New England, and the temperature just never stays the same for very long. So I think that's having an effect on my allergies because the last couple of days I just want to rip my nose off and just I don't know, stomp on it with a pair of cleats, and it's frustrating. I can breathe right now. That's a good thing, so I'm happy about that. But hey, it's part of life, especially, like I said, living in New England when the weather's always changing. Sometimes it's the leaves, sometimes it's the grass, and then sometimes it's just the weather, just being silly. So that's that. But since I did mention work, I want to give a quick shout out to someone I met today. His name is Brent. He is looking to start his own podcast soon. I think he's got a website, which I forgot to write down. I'm so sorry, Brent. But hopefully soon I'll be able to talk more about that and just, kind of give him some love and support from the Indoob podcast. So all you listeners can go check out, what he's up to. Because he is, like me, a big movie buff, TV buff, just entertainment in general. So make sure you check him out when I give you that information to check him out. In the meantime, since I did say there was so much stuff going on, I would like to take a moment and talk about some of those things that had been going on, such as, and I'll try to go in chronological order, Mockingjay Part 2. Yes, I went to go see Mockingjay Part 2. Did I like it? Not really. And I'll explain why, because as I tell people I went to go see it, or other people that have seen it, it seems to be really like you either really loved it or you just didn't like it at all. Or maybe, like me, I was a little underwhelmed. I haven't read any of the books. However, I have talked to people who have read the books, and even people who have read the books, they are both divided too. Then again, one person, I think in a future episode, I will go into more spoilerific kind of details about it. But the book mirrors the movie, or rather the movie mirrors the book very well, and that goes from both parties that have read the book and seen the movie. And one person really, actually, I think they both really liked that about it, but it's just like the story itself they didn't care for, or one party didn't care for, the other one did, and that's why they liked it. Did I lose anybody? I'm sorry if I did, but like I said, it's very divided. Some people really loved it. I was underwhelmed. I think I was looking for a bigger, grander ending. I personally felt it had too many endings. And then I ended up going to see it again because I made a promise to a friend Jenny, of all people, because I say of all people because she is someone who was supposed to be a guest on this podcast. And we've tried several times, but each time there's been some kind of interference or some kind of problem that keeps her from being on the podcast. But hey, sooner or later, Jenny will make it on this podcast, this show. But I did go see, like I said, I saw Mockingjay twice. I would have been happy just to see it the one time, but like I said, promises, the things I do for my friends. What also came out that same weekend, or that same day, technically, because I saw that on a Wednesday, then I went and saw it again a week later. But that same day was Jessica Jones. So I did see Jessica Jones. I live tweeted the first 3 episodes. However, I felt that by doing that, I probably missed out on some things. So I probably have to go back and watch it again, which is not a problem because it actually is a very great show, really well written, very dense, really strong characters. Jessica Jones is not a character I was familiar with prior to this show, even though I did like a quick Wikipedia search on it, and still I'm like, okay, Jessica Jones, whoever that is. Luke Cage is also in it, and David Tennant as the Purple Man, or Kilgrave is his villainous name. And it's that alone, just his characterization of Kilgrave is I don't know, hopefully Emmy nods all around, at least for David Tennant, because that, I don't want to get into spoilers about it, but just brilliant, just all around, just brilliance. Well worth watching. However, I will, as I'm saying, it's well worth watching. It's not worth watching with your family unless your whole family is comprised of adults that don't mind the occasional swearing or the occasional abrupt and lengthy-ish kind of random sex scenes. Okay, they're not random because, I mean, everything that happens for the most part does happen in the comic from what I'm told. But yeah, it just kind of happens like, oh, okay, that's happening now. I'm so glad that, parental units aren't around to make things awkward. So there you go. You have that warning. But that came out. I didn't watch it. I didn't binge watch it the whole entire weekend because I do have a job, so I had to work. Had I not have to work over the weekend, then yeah, I probably would have watched the whole thing like that next day, that Saturday. But like I said, I work on Saturdays now, so I don't have that luxury anymore. That's okay. I'm not crying about it because, I mean, life happens. Also out on that day, November the 20th, Adele's new album 25 came out, and I am ashamed to admit I still have not finished listening to it. I listened to, how many tracks are there? 11, I think. I have the CD in my possession, but it's just out of reach, and I don't remember how many tracks are on it. And I've only listened to the majority of it, so there's like 2 or 3 songs I haven't listened to yet. But it's Adele, and I love it. It's great, and I love the little sketch that they had on SNL a couple weeks back. That was great too. I just love Adele. Great artist, great talent, great songwriter. I could just go on all day, but I will move on because the other thing that happened on the 20th was I believe it's The Man in the High Castle. That also came out on Amazon Prime. Now, I would love to give you a review on that. I've only seen the pilot episode, and I saw that back a couple months ago when when Amazon has their pilot season, they just put out all the pilots. And then I guess based on how many people watch it, and I think they even vote what show they want to see more of. I don't know how that really works, but this got picked up for a whole season. So they made the whole season, and it's now available on Amazon Prime. However, I went to try to watch it, I believe, a couple days ago, and it just kept freezing. So I don't know if it had to do with my Amazon services or my streaming. I don't know what was going on, but it kept freezing everything. So I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for this. And I just decided to skip it altogether, and I decided to watch Kingsman: Secret Service, which I guess just came out on HBO. So I watched that instead, and I really thoroughly enjoyed that. I mean, I kind of got an idea of what it was about, but I don't know. It was just a fun movie. It's about it's almost a parody on spy series or like a gentleman spy, and someone actually compared it to what Indiana Jones did for adventure movies. That this movie does for Bond and Jason Bourne, and well, mostly Bond because it has to do with the English spy films and how it kind of takes that trope of the English guy always being the villain, and this time that the English are the heroes and the American is the villain. I mean, it's a whole bunch of things. It's jam-packed with a whole bunch of references and just winks and nods and even just direct homages to things you always find in spy movies, and I thought it was pretty incredible. Great cast, with Samuel L. Jackson with a lisp, which I've read that I guess before he even really started acting, he always had a lisp, but he just kind of really played it up. But to me, I thought he was, before I even saw the movie and did my research into it, I thought that he was doing an impression of Russell Simmons, but I guess not. But that is a good majority of a lot of the media I consumed. I actually did a lot of YouTubing stuff. I really love Crash Course, so I've been watching a whole lot of mostly U.S. history and world history. They have a whole bunch of different topics and subjects, from science to literature, to like things like economics or things in the government or business. So one of these days I'll get around to watching those as well, because it's very informative and, like 10 to 15 minutes. And you get a whole like lesson. In fact, schools actually use these videos to, help with the lessons. So I think that's pretty awesome. I've also been watching comics. I think it's Comics Explained, where it explains comic books and comic book characters. I kind of stumbled across this as I was watching or researching things about Jessica Jones and any Easter eggs, which there are some, because a friend of the show, Courtney, and I were discussing any references to David Tennant playing Doctor Who, or if there was any Doctor Who references in regards to Kilgrave's character, which I believe there is at least one. I don't know if there's any more. Like I said, I've only watched it once, but based on a video I watched, they kind of pointed stuff out that I didn't see. But I was like, hey, that makes a lot of sense. So there is at least one out there. So yeah, I thought there was something else I was watching too. I don't know. I can't think of any, but that's there. The only other thing that I did watch, or I had I hosted a live tweet of, and I'm going to be doing this once a month. So, again, all those that are on Twitter, please take note that once a month, I haven't decided when I'm going to try to actually schedule it so it works out a little easier than I did last time. But I'll do what I'm calling Masterpiece Theater, and I will we'll do a live tweet of, I'm thinking maybe of a classic movie, or maybe just a really great movie that doesn't quite fit into a genre like Saturday Night Sci-Fi or 80s Live Tweet or Friday Night Horror, which are other live tweets that happen during the weekend. Some of them every weekend, some of them every other or once a month. So I'm going to be doing that Friday nights, either at 8 or at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And when I'm not doing that, I'll be doing the Fringe Friday live tweets. So that will be starting this Friday. What is this Friday? The 4th? I think it's the 4th. Yeah, it's the 4th. December the 4th. That will be the next Fringe Friday live tweet, starting with Season 3. And yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. So look out for that if you are on Twitter. And again, please follow me if you're not. At indoob, INDOOB. Then again, you should know how to spell it if you're listening to this podcast, but there you have it. The only other thing that's new or happening is I've been doing a little experiment with a couple of those wristbands that will kind of, keep track of your fitness. The most famous one is FitBit, or at least to me, that's the most famous one. And that basically there are ones that track your heart rate and do a whole bunch of other things like a pedometer and counts all your footsteps and your distance. I have a FitBit Flex. Very, very special thanks to my sister, Midori, for gracing me with that. She has one and she wasn't using it, so she let me have it. And due to my job, and like I said earlier, I do a lot of walking. I was really curious, like, how much walking am I doing? So today, the walking, I've actually passed 10 miles today. So I don't know if I've done 10 miles before I had like a Fitbit or the other one, which is called Pivotal Living. But yeah, it was quite a journey I had today. Like I said, a lot of walking. That's why my legs are tired. The other device, which is called Pivotal Living, you can find on Amazon for like $20. And it's a watch. It is a pedometer. And again, tracks your distance. Both of these, I mean, the Fitbit and the Pivotal Living, they both do the same things, except the Fitbit does not have a watch setting. At least the Flex doesn't. I know there's other kinds of Fitbits, like there's the Charge. There is, I don't know what the other ones are, but there's other ones that actually have displays of like some sort, like they'll give you some number like your heart rate. And the Fitbit Flex doesn't have that. But the Pivotal Living doesn't have that either. It'll just, give you these informations. That both of them have alarms on them, which is a little weird, a little freaky. If you set your alarm for, like, I have it for the Pivotal Living, so it wakes me up at 5:15ish, and all of a sudden your wrist just starts vibrating, and I'm like, what's going on? And let me figure out how to turn this off. And it's weird how you wouldn't think something like that might wake you up, but it kind of does. But it's also really interesting how both of these devices, they will track how you sleep. And what the Pivotal Living tries to do is it tries to wake you up like within 10 minutes of that time when you are just about to naturally start waking up anyway. So it's really interesting how all of that works. So while it might not track your heart rate, it is definitely taking note of, it's monitoring you. So there's that. And I mean, like I said, both of these devices do track your rate. I like how Fitbit shows the times that you're restless, but the Pivotal Living will actually give you like a line graph, like a swirly graph thing, where it's like, okay, you were in deep sleep for like 3 hours, but there's a dip where you're not as sleepy or not in a deep sleep. It's interesting. I like it. Plus, I'm always interested in like my sleeping habits, because there's times like I remember waking up and other times I don't. And this will show you those times that you are awake and count how many times you woke up. So it's cool. I recommend it. Definitely the Pivotal Living if you are like me and on a budget. And you need, first of all, you need a watch like I needed. And you are curious how many, steps and the health. Both things also have you, I guess you can go in and measure. You can weigh yourself just to see, if you lost any weight. They also have to put in your tracking how much water you drink, which I have a hard time doing. I drink a lot of water, so I can't really judge, like, is this 32 ounces? Do I have to drink 60? I don't have time for that, especially at work, because I drink so much water at work. It's hard for me to keep track. But, I mean, I could. I just don't want to. So there you go. But I definitely recommend both of these devices. I know the Fitbit, they are more costly. So like I said, if you're on a budget, I would say Pivotal Living, it's not bad. And I'm right now, my experiment is actually testing how accurate both of them are, because the Fitbit might be off a few steps. I think one had 28,000, the other one was like 26,000. So where are those other 2,000? So if you're hearing Chief barking right now, it's just because someone is entering the house. So I think I might have to go catch this criminal person. So if I don't make it back, then I might have lost that battle. But if I do, even if I don't, if I do or if I don't, doesn't matter. Regardless, I just want you all to know that if the world didn't suck, we'd all fall off.
Was recorded on planet Earth and is an extension of the Indoob blog found at indoob.com. You can subscribe and find more episodes on iTunes and indoob.podbean.com. You can also follow Master Sterling on Twitter at Indoob. I am not allowed. This is Bilford signing off, and this has been another 3SFX production.
Use your words, Chief. Good boy.